I woke to silence. The kind of silence that doesn't just fill a house, but presses against it. Our home had never been silent. Not once in all the 23 years we'd lived there. The Lawson household was a constant orchestra of motion. The thrum of my father's coffee grinder at dawn. The echo of Mum's voice as she shouted at my younger brother to stop being late for work. The bark of the dog when the mail truck passed. But that morning, there was nothing. Just stillness and the low mechanical hum of the refrigerator downstairs. I sat up, half expecting to hear my brother Dylan's music blasting through his walls. But his door was open. Bed empty. Sheets tucked. Not slept in. Mum? I called. No. Answer. The air was too still, too clean. Something in my gut clenched. I reached for my phone on the nightstand. The screen was blank. No missed calls, no messages. But the strangest part wasn't the emptiness of the inbox, it was the contact list. Half of it was gone. Dad, Mom, Dylan, even Aunt Teresa. Deleted. A sick chill rolled through me. I didn't delete them. My first thought was a glitch, maybe some kind of sync issue. But then a memory flickered. Last night, Dylan borrowing my phone to check the time while we were watching TV. My brother wasn't stupid, but he was lazy. He'd never go to that kind of trouble unless he had a reason. Okay, I whispered to myself, pulling on my robe and stepping into the hall. The house looked too tidy. The kind of tidy that only happens when someone's leaving for a trip. Counters wiped, curtains drawn, the faint scent of lemon cleaner lingering in the air. I reached the kitchen. Empty. No breakfast dishes, no coffee pot steaming, no note. Then I saw the calendar. A date circled in blue ink. June 18th. Family lake trip. My handwriting. I blinked, staring. That trip was supposed to be next weekend. We hadn't even packed. Outside. The driveway was bare. The SUV. The truck gone. I fumbled for my phone again, dialing my mother's number. Manually from memory. This number is no longer in service, the robotic voice said. I tried Dad's work line. Voicemail. Tried Dylan's. Disconnected. That's when I saw it, the envelope sitting on the counter, addressed to me in Mom's looping. CURSIV. E. Inside. A single sheet of paper. Greater than Lena. You've done so much for this family. And we're grateful. But you need to focus on yourself now. We've decided to go ahead with the trip without you. Don't worry about the bills. Everything will be fine for a while. Take care of yourself. Love, Mom. ** fine for a while. The words didn't make sense. I flipped the paper over, looking for more. Nothing. Then I noticed something else. The faint outline of another note beneath it. A carbon copy impression. As if the letter had been written on top of another one. I shaded over it with a pencil from the drawer. Slowly, words appeared. Greater than make sure she doesn't find the documents. Take the file with you. My hand froze. Documents? I ran to Dad's office, heart pounding, and yanked open the bottom drawer of his desk. Empty. Every folder, every account statement gone. Only a single receipt remained, a property title transfer. The name on it wasn't ours anymore. The house had been signed over to someone else. My breath hitched. Yesterday, Dad had told me not to worry about the mortgage notice that came in, the mail. He said it was a clerical thing. I sat down hard in his chair, the edges of my vision tightening. They sold the house, while I was still living in it. Without telling me. And then they left. I didn't cry. Not yet. Instead, I went to my laptop. The Wi-Fi was still on my account, naturally. I logged into our family banking app. Every joint account showed the same thing. Close. Except for mine. My balance. $42.17. They'd cleaned me out. That was when the first tears slipped down my cheek. Hot and quick. I wasn't angry yet. Just empty. For 2 years, I'd been paying half the mortgage. Dad's hours at the factory had been cut. Mum's part-time work barely covered groceries. Dylan was still figuring things out. So I'd stepped in writing checks, covering utilities, bailing out overdrafts. Now, all of it made sense. Sudden loan Dad had needed for tax issues. The way Mom avoided talking about refinancing. The calls from the bank that mysteriously stopped. They hadn't been struggling. They'd been planning. I spent the next hour going through drawers, shelves, the file cabinet, every hiding spot I could think of. I found nothing. No spare cash, no spare keys, no family photos. Even the framed pictures on the walls had been replaced. The ones with me in them were missing. That was the first moment I truly understood what had happened. They didn't just leave me. They erased me. The next day I went to the bank. The clerk, a polite woman in a navy blazer, frowned as she typed my name into her system. "I'm sorry, Miss Larson," she said. "It looks like your parents withdrew the funds and closed the joint mortgage account 2 days ago." 2 days ago? I echoed. But the title, who does it belong to now? She glanced at the screen, hesitating. It was transferred to a new owner, a limited liability company. Which one? Lawson Holdings, LLC. The name hit like ice water. My father's surname. His company, no doubt. And if he formed an LLC, it meant one thing. He'd moved all the assets under his control, legally separating them from me. I walked out of that bank numb. For the next 24 hours, I tried to make sense of it. Where would they go? Why do this? And why now? The answer came unexpectedly from an email I wasn't supposed to receive. Subject: line. Final confirmation. Property transfer to Lakehurst Estates. The email had been sent to my mother's old account 1. I still had syncs to my laptop from when I used to manage her bills. Attached were travel confirmations. 4 one-way tickets to Canada. Destination: Lakehurst, Ontario. A luxury lakeside resort community. And the date of arrival. Yesterday morning, they didn't just leave town, they fled the country. That was the first moment I felt something sharp and alive pierce through the numbness. Not sadness, not even rage. Just a steady, cold clarity. They'd built their escape on my money, my labor, my trust. And they thought I'd stay behind, paying the bills and cleaning up after them like always. They didn't know me at all. That night, I sat at my desk and opened a blank document. Title: The Reckoning Plan. Step 1. Gather evidence. Step 2. Locate their assets. Step 3. Take back everything they stole. This wasn't about revenge. Not yet. This was about balance. By the time the sun rose, I had a list of every digital footprint they'd left behind: emails, login hints, transaction timestamps, even the names of the brokers who'd processed their transfer. I didn't need to chase them, just needed to wait for the right moment, to pull the floor out from under their new life. And I would. Piece by piece. Quietly. They'd never hear me coming. I didn't leave the house for 3 days. Not out of grief. Grief would have been cleaner. It was focus that kept me locked inside. Focus and a kind of mechanical precision that felt borrowed from someone else's life. During those 72 hours, I became an archivist of my own erasure. Every receipt, every transaction, every unexplained transfer. I catalogued it all. By day 3, My dining table was a battlefield of papers, sticky notes, and screenshots. There was a pattern, varied in the chaos. One that began a year ago, when Dad had convinced me to temporarily move my savings into a joint family account. I thought I was helping him rebuild credit. Instead, he'd siphoned it into the new LLC months before its official registration. They'd used my trust as capital, and they'd used my name to sign for it. The first real lead came from an overlooked email thread in Mom's archived messages. She must have thought she'd deleted. From Lakehurst Legal Services to Brenda Lawson subject, finalization of property unit 14BBODY. Please confirm that all transfer funds have been received from your daughter's account ending in 2741. Once confirmed, we will proceed with the closing of the unit and establish title under Lawson Holdings, LLC. There it was. Proof that my money hadn't just been stolen, it had been used to buy their new life. The next email confirmed my suspicion. A scanned copy of the deed. Lawson Holdings, LLC, registered to Mark Lawson, managing partner, and Dylan Lawson, secondary partner. Mom's name wasn't on it. That was interesting. In every crime, there's always one person who thinks they're innocent because they didn't sign anything. Mom was that person. By the fifth day, I had a binder read heavy, divided into TABS, a financial evidence B, digital correspondence C, timeline of events D, asset map. Each tab was a vein of data pulsing with betrayal. But evidence wasn't enough. I needed access. I called in a favor from an old co-worker, Adam. We'd worked together in IT support before. I'd switched departments, and I knew his weakness, ego wrapped in kindness. Adam, I said over the phone, keeping my tone light. You still handle data recovery for personal clients? For you? Sure, he replied, cheerful as always. What did you lose? My parents' login credentials, I lied. They're traveling, but they need some info from their old cloud drive. They gave me the backup file, but it's encrypted. Think you could crack it? There was a pause, then a chuckle. You know I can. Send it over. By that evening I had it. A full mirror of my father's digital life emails, PDFs, scanned bank statements, and buried among them, a message that made my pulse stop. From Mark Lawson to Dylan Lawson subject. The account's greater than once it's finalized, clear her out. Make sure she can't trace a thing. I don't want her following us up there. She's done enough damage. Damage. That single word redefined everything I thought. I knew about them. They hadn't just taken what was mine. They'd convinced themselves I deserved it. I decided to test the boundaries of their new life. Late that night, I called the Lakehurst Estates office. The receptionist answered in a bright, clicked Canadian accent. Good evening, Lakehurst Estates. How can I help you? I modulated my voice to sound older, smoother. This is Patricia Lane from Lawson Holdings. I'm calling to confirm the maintenance fee for Unit 14B. Oh yes, Ms. Lane, she said, scrolling. That account's been fully paid through September. Would you like me to send the invoice again? That would be perfect, I said. Please send it to the same email. Of course, ma'am. Anything else? Yes, I said softly. Could you remind me who's authorized on the account? Just Mark Lawson and his son Dylan. And Brenda? No, none on file, I smiled. Thank you. That'll be all. I hung up and stared at the ceiling. No mom on the account. No control. The weak link had revealed itself. I waited 2 more days before calling her. She answered. On the second ring, her voice cheerful, oblivious. Lena. Honey, I was just thinking about you. Don't, I said. My voice was calm. Don't pretend you didn't know. The silence stretched. Sweetheart, you took everything. You left me with nothing, Mom. You forged my signature on the property transfer. Her breath hitched. Lena, you don't understand. Your father, he said it was temporary. Just until you could disappear. Your father thought. I laughed, short and sharp. He doesn't think. He manipulates, and you follow. Her voice cracked. You don't know what he's capable of. I know. Exactly what he's capable of, I said quietly. And soon, so will everyone else. I hung up before she could answer. That night, I drafted a new plan. Not just recovery exposure. If they wanted to start a new life, I'd make sure the foundation of it crumbled beneath them. Step 1. Freeze the LLC. I knew how to do it. My brief stint working at a financial firm had taught me that a single complaint to the right agency could trigger an audit, especially for cross-border transfers. I filed one under my own name, attaching anonymous evidence of misappropriated fund screenshots, transaction IDs, wire receipts, enough to raise suspicion without revealing my intent. Within 48 hours, the LLC's assets were placed under temporary investigation. Their accounts frozen. Step 2. Remove their digital footprint. Dylan was easy. His entire life ran through a single email, which he used for everything: job applications, social media, even his password recovery. All I needed was 1 weak security question. What was the name of your first pet? Clover. I typed .access granted. Inside, I found everything: flight itineraries, digital receipts, even scanned passports. I forwarded the entire folder to myself, then changed his recovery phone number. Now, every alert would come to me. First. Step 3. Dismantle their piece. I created a new account, anonymous, and began sending subtle messages to my father. Not threats. Just reminders. Greater than, do you ever wonder what's waiting at home? Lakehurst doesn't stay quiet forever. You can't delete everything. He ignored the first 2. The third, he replied to. From Mark Lawson 2. Unknown sender subject. If this is about the money, you won't get a cent. We've earned our peace. Leave us alone. Earned. The word repeated itself in my head like a drumbeat. Over the next week, I watched their digital lives unravel from afar. Credit cards declined. Utilities in their name halted. A legal notice posted to their property address. Every click, every consequence rippled outward. And I didn't lift a finger beyond the initial nudge. I didn't have to. All I needed to do was set the dominoes upright and let gravity do the rest. Then something unexpected happened. A call restricted number. I answered, cautious. Lena? It was Dylan. His voice low, shaking. I need to talk to you, he said. Please, I didn't know what they were planning. I swear. Where are you? In Toronto, he said. At a motel. They kicked me out. Kicked you out? He gave a humorless laugh. Dad found out I talked to Mom about you. Sighed. I jeopardized the plan. He changed all the passwords, froze the cards. They're keeping the place locked. I said nothing. He continued. I know I don't deserve anything, but please, I just need to understand. Why are you doing this? I took a slow breath. Because, Dylan, you helped them steal from me. I didn't. You deleted my contacts. You helped them erase me. You think I'd forget that? His voice cracked. I thought it was just to stop you from worrying. Dad said. almost pitied him. Almost. You're on your own now, I said. Consider it a learning experience. Before I hung up, I added one more thing. Tell Dad this. The house you stole was built on my paycheck, and debts have a way of collecting interest. Then I ended the call. After that, I waited. And waiting, I learned, is its own form of revenge. 2 weeks later, the first news alert appeared online. Local investors investigated for fraudulent LLC TRANSFE article was brief but damning. The Canadian authorities were cooperating with U.S. regulators after a whistleblower tip. Lawson Holdings was mentioned by name. I stared at the headline for a long time, sipping cold coffee. This wasn't satisfaction yet, but it was close. 3 nights later, a new email arrived from Mom. Subject: Please, just talk to me. Lena, your father's losing everything. The accounts are frozen. The police are asking questions. He's terrified. Dylan's gone and I don't know what to do. If you ever cared about us at all, please stop. You've made your point. I read it 3 times. Then I replied, greater than, I didn't make my point. Not yet. You built your peace with my money, my silence, and my trust. All I've done is give you back the silence. Then I closed the laptop and walked outside. The night air felt lighter. For the first time in years, I could breathe. But this wasn't over. I still needed to see their world collapse with my own eyes. I checked my passport, booked a flight, under my middle name, and smiled. Lakehurst, Ontario. Population 2,800. Soon to be 1 scandal short. The notification from the Ring app hasn't stopped flashing since they came back. It's been nearly 40 minutes now. I should close it. Delete the account, move on. But I don't. I watch. My house is a hollow carcass on the screen, stripped of everything I built into it. And now they stand in the ruins of their own comfort, the echoes of their betrayal filling the empty rooms. Brenda's voice, sharp and trembling, cuts through the recording. Greater than this is insane, Mark. Everything's gone. Even the refrigerator. Her. Panic would have once twisted something in my chest. Guilt, maybe. That instinct to fix it, smooth it over, make it all okay. But that part of me has been cauterized clean. Mark's reply comes muffled through the doorway, greater than it's a break-in. Someone must have known we were away. No. Dad. Not someone. Me. Corbin, single quotes S voice. Thinner than I remember, joins in. Greater than, the footage she took it. She had to have taken it. Look, there's her car in the driveway yesterday. He turns the camera, and I catch a brief flicker of my own reflection from 3 days earlier, shoulders squared, face expressionless, binder tucked beneath my arm. The sight should feel incriminating. Instead it feels holy, like evidence of resurrection. Their confusion is the sound of justice. By the next morning, the police have been there twice. I can see the flashing blue lights reflected in the driveway via the doorbell cam. They don't knock on my door. They don't even know where to look. Every receipt, every serial number, every purchase mine, every transfer documented, every warranty registered under my name. They'll try to twist it, of course. They'll claim family property, joint household items, shared space. But paper doesn't lie, and I've lived my life buried in theirs long enough to know how to make a narrative stick. For 2 days, I do nothing but watch. Their lights stay off because they can't pay for what isn't in their name. There. Voices drift through the ring mic at odd hours, fragments of desperation. Greater than we need to call her, Brenda whispers once. No, Mark snaps. We'll fix this ourselves. With what money? She fires back. The silence that follows is delicious. I sip my coffee, half laughing into the rim of the cup. That's the thing about silence. It used to terrify me. Now it feeds me. By the 5th day, I stop watching live. Instead, I scroll back through footage, examining them like insects in a jar. Their movements predictable, small. The once pristine house, our museum of performance, has started to crumble in their hands. Dishes pile in the sink. Boxes scatter across the hallway. They look lost. The strange thing is, I don't feel the victory I thought I would. I thought I'd taste satisfaction. Something sharp and sweet, like the end of a good revenge film. Instead, I feel stillness, like the pause after a storm. It's not peace exactly. Peace implies forgiveness. It's completion. The knock comes on the B. Morning of the 6th day. Not from police. Not from them. From Uncle Dean. I'm halfway through my 2nd cup of coffee when the knock sounds. Soft but insistent. I know it's him before I even check the peephole. That voice from Maui still echoes in my head. I open the door. He looks smaller than I remember, less tan, more tired. The lines around his eyes are deeper, like the sun in paradise couldn't burn away the guilt. Krista, he says, exhaling my name like it hurts to say it. We need to talk. I let him stand there, holding his hat like a child caught in the act. Then after a long pause, I step aside. He enters cautiously, eyes scanning the apartment. Sparse furniture, clean counters, peace. The opposite of what he left behind in my old house. I didn't know, he starts. Yes, you did. My tone is quiet, flat. You knew exactly what they were doing. You were there. He sighs, rubbing the back of his neck. They told me they'd invited you, that you refused, that you stop. His mouth closes. I lean against the kitchen counter, arms crossed. They used me for 6 years, Dean. 6. You think a single plane ticket would have fixed that? I'm not here to defend them, he says quickly. They're a mess, Krista. The police came. They can't afford to replace anything. The house isn't theirs, I interrupt. It's mine. Or was. He nods slowly. They don't see it that way. Of course they don't. They never saw anything that wasn't handed to them. He looks down at his hands. You proved your point. They're panicking. Maybe it's time to let it go now. That makes me laugh. A quiet, hollow sound. Let it go? He flinches a little. You got your revenge. Isn't that enough? Dean, I say softly. This was never revenge. This was correction. The words hang between us like smoke. He shifts awkwardly, eyes darting toward the door. I just thought maybe you'd want to know. They're planning to sell the house. They're saying you abandoned it. I tilt my head. Let them try. He hesitates, then lowers his voice. Krista, you're scaring them. Good. For a moment he looks at me as though he doesn't recognize me. Then he nods once, defeated, and leaves. That night, I sit in my quiet apartment, the hum of the fridge the only sound. I open my laptop and type one final search. County property tax records. It takes less than 5 minutes to find what I'm looking for. A house, 1342 Oakwood Lane, is still registered under Mark and Brenda Kessler, but the unpaid utilities have begun to stack. The mortgage company has filed a delinquency notice. They're sinking, and I haven't even touched them. But I could end it completely. The idea comes quietly, not as a spark but as a whisper. The house, my investment. My blood and time and salary could still serve me. Just not as a home. As leverage. I reach for my phone and call the bank, disguising my voice just enough to sound neutral. Greater than high. I'm calling to confirm the foreclosure process on the property at Oakwood Lane. I'm a relative of the owners. Woman on the line sighs, tapping her keyboard. It's under review, she says. Payments have been missed for 2 months. We're preparing to move forward. Do you have a potential buyer yet? Not at this time, I smile. You do now. By the next morning, I've met with a realtor. I sign the documents for a cash offer through a holding company, a quiet transaction that ties back only to my name through a shell business I set up months earlier for freelance work. It's perfectly legal, perfectly invisible. Within 3 weeks, the paperwork clears. The Kessler house is mine again. Not as a daughter, as an owner. I drive there for the first time since the move out. The neighborhood looks the same, too perfect, too quiet. The kind of suburban symmetry that hides rot behind white fences. Their cars are still in the driveway. The front lawn, once manicured, now wild with weeds. I park across the street and watch. Through the window I can see them moving slow, ghost-like. A family haunting its own corpse. The for sale notice hasn't reached them yet. It will. Soon. When it does, they'll realize the walls closing around them were paid for. By me. Inside my car, I exhale for what feels like the first real breath in months. My reflection stares back from the dark windshield, calm, distant, free. Not the caretaker. Not the responsible one. Not the forgotten daughter. Just Krista. My phone buzzes. A voicemail from an unknown number. I press play. Krista. It's Mom. A pause. A shaky breath. We saw the papers. The house. I don't understand how you could do this to us. To family. Family. The word almost makes me laugh. Please call me back. We can work this out. The message ends. I delete it. Some debts can't be worked out. That night, I visit the house one final time. The street is empty, the November air crisp and clean. I still have the spare key. They never changed the locks. Typical. Inside. The air smells of dust and stale panic. Boxes half packed. Furniture scavenged from thrift stores. The walls echo every footstep. I walk through each room like a ghost, retracing her own haunting. The kitchen, where I once stood listening to the hum of Betrayal. The living room, where my laughter used to blend with theirs before I knew better. The stairs, creaking under the weight of memory. Upstairs. Their doors are closed, but I can hear them soft, uneven breathing through thin wood. They're sleeping, or pretending to. I stop at the end of the hall outside my old room. It's empty now. The walls bare. The stain on the ceiling unchanged. I step inside, sit on the floor, and rest my hand on the cold hardwood. This was never yours, I whisper. Then I stand, pull the key from my pocket, and set it on the floorboards. A tiny piece of metal that once meant belonging. Now, it's just proof. When I leave, I don't look back. The next morning the news breaks. Foreclosure filed on Oakwood Lane property. It's a tiny column buried in the business section of the local paper. But in our town, whispers travel faster than print. By noon, my phone starts vibrating unknown. Numbers, neighborhood gossipers, even Rhett's college friends who think they're being helpful. I mute them all. The Kessler's house, my house, will go to auction in 30 days unless the debt is cleared. They don't have 30 days. They barely have $30. That evening, Rain smears the sky into streaks of grey. I drive to the overlook above the subdivision and watch the roofs shimmer beneath the streetlights. It's strangely beautiful, like a painting someone left out in the weather too long. I think about the version of me who once scrubbed those kitchen counters, who kept that house running because she believed family meant obligation. I wonder if she'd recognize this version, the woman sitting in the dark car, smiling while the world below unravels. Maybe she wouldn't. Maybe that's the point. 3 days later, a knock. Not the polite kind this time. The urgent, hollow-fisted kind. I already know who it is. I open the door and face them. Mum, Dad, Corbin, Sloane, and Rhett, 5 silhouettes under a shared umbrella. Soaked, shivering, desperate. Mom begins, voice cracking. Please, we need to talk. I step aside wordlessly. They enter like refugees, dripping rain onto my clean floor. Their faces are drawn, their clothes wrinkled. Corbin looks thinner. Sloane's perfect hair hangs limp. Rhett avoids my eyes completely. Dad clears his throat. You bought the house. I did. Why? Because it was mine to begin with. Silence. The word mine lands like a hammer. Mom clasps her hands. Sweetheart, we made mistakes. This isn't you. You're not cruel. I almost laugh. Cruel? Mum, I paid your mortgage for 6 years. You used my salary like an IV drip and called it help. And when you didn't need the blood anymore, you left me behind. Sloane snaps. It wasn't personal. Everything about it was personal. I answer. Corbin tries logic. Look, the bank says if we can pay off half. I raise a hand. Stop. There's no negotiation. The sale is final. Dad's face reddens. You'd throw your own family out on the street. I meet his stare. You already did that to me. I'm just returning the favor. The room swells with silence. For the first time, they see me not the dependable daughter or the family wallet, but the quiet storm they created. Mom's lip trembles. Where will we go? That, I say softly, isn't my responsibility anymore. They leave one by one. No yelling, no theatrics. Just the hollow sound of the door clicking shut. When it's over, the apartment smells of rain and fear. That night I dream of the house, not how it was, but how it could be. Empty, sunlit, the echo of my footsteps on bare wood. Not a prison but a canvas. When I wake, I know what to do. I call the realtor. I'll take possession early. I say, I want the keys. 2 hours later, they're in my hand, smooth metal, faintly warm from the courier's pocket. The door creaks open like an exhale. The air inside is stale, heavy with abandonment. Boxes half unpacked, suitcases open. They left fast. I walk from room to room, tracing the outlines of what used to be. The walls whisper names. Mum, Dad, Corbin, Sloane, Rhett. Each syllable fades like dust in the living room, a faint rectangle. On the wall shows where the big TV once hung. The absence looks right. I head to the kitchen, my reflection dim in the oven glass. For a moment, the stillness feels absolute. Then I hear it, a soft clatter from upstairs. I freeze. Another sound. A door hinge shifting. Someone's here. Slowly, quietly, I climb the stairs. Each step groans beneath me. The hallway smells faintly of their cologne and old detergent. I reach my old room. The door is ajar. A shape moves inside. Rhett, I say. He turns, startled. A duffel bag half packed at his feet. I thought you'd all left, I continue. He swallows. I came back for my stuff. You weren't supposed to be here. I own the house now. I know, he murmurs. I don't blame you, Kreese. That stops me. He looks older, shoulders slumped. They made you pay for everything. I saw it. I should have said something. You could have. I was a coward. We stand in the ghost of my old life. Two versions. Of survival. Finally, I nod. Take what's yours and go. Don't tell them I saw you. He nods, eyes shining. You really won't forgive them, will you? No, I say, but I might forgive myself. He leaves quietly. For the first time, I believe him when he says he's sorry. Weeks pass. The auction notice vanishes from the yard, replaced by a simple private property sign. I hire contractors to repaint, refinish floors, and patch the cracks no one ever fixed. Each repair feels like erasing an old bruise. Neighbors watch from their driveways, whispering. Some call me ruthless. Others call me brave. I don't care what they call me. By spring, the house gleams again, new light fixtures, new garden beds, clean walls. It's smaller somehow, like it shed the weight of history. On the final day of renovation, I hang one thing on the bare kitchen wall, a small framed photograph of me at 10 years old, holding a sparkler on the 4th of July, the night I believed family meant safety. Now it means memory, and that's enough. I find it wedged under my apartment door one morning, a plain envelope, no return address, my name written in Mom's handwriting. I almost throw it away, but curiosity wins, greater than Krista. We lost everything. Your father's working nights now. Sloan moved in with friends. Corbin's gone no one knows where. Rhett told us you let him pack. Thank you for that. I know we hurt you. I see that now. I wish we'd seen it sooner. If you ever want to talk, we're still your family. Love, Mom. I fold the letter once and slip it into my binder, the same binder that once held receipts and evidence. I don't keep it for sentiment. I keep it as a record. Proof that even after ruin, they still reach for the hand that pushed them over the edge. The auction months later, the house sells again, not because I need the money, but because I'm ready to let go. A young couple buys it, bright-eyed and naive. They don't ask about the past. And I don't offer it. At closing, the agent hands me a final check. New beginnings, she says cheerfully. Yes, I answer. For all of us. On Thanksgiving morning, exactly 1 year after the silence, I wake to birds outside my window. My studio apartment is warm, sun filtering through white curtains. Coffee steams on the knitstand. No phone calls. No chaos. Just quiet. I sit at the small table, open my journal, and write the only line that matters. Freedom isn't the absence of family. It's the absence of obligation. Outside, laughter rises from a neighbor's balcony. I smile not with bitterness, but with understanding. Some stories end with forgiveness. Mine ends with clarity. I stand, pour a second cup, and whisper into the still air. Happy Thanksgiving, Krista. And for the first time, it actually is. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.